How's it going, everybody? I am going to give you a look inside the Sonic Rehearsal Studios inside of Plains. We are here doing some live pre-production before the show at the Ritz on Saturday. And I think this is one of those places that is a hidden gem inside the area that a lot of people don't know about. And I just want to kind of highlight it a little bit and give you a little bit of a rundown of what I'm going to use for the show on Saturday. So big open space to be able to practice very loud with some real instruments as opposed to using the electronic kit that I have to use at the house. Full PA system that you could run everything through with a mixing console. I'll show you the inside over here. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, so there's going to be a little tracking space over here. Inside of this is technically the vocal booth, and then we've got our mixing console inside of here. Got a Midas M32, and then you could look out over into the live room. Okay, so if you want to do some recording, Darren, the owner, was saying that he's got a bunch of different DAWs that you could use to be able to record into if you need to do some actual recording, which might end up doing some actual live drum tracking up here a little bit now that I know that this place exists. And Darren's a really cool guy. Here's a little bit of the percussion setup that Ale is going to use on Saturday. He's been working really hard on piecing this together and making something that's kind of all one unit, and a little bit more stable for these big honking bass drums and a floor tom. And then obviously you get the keg and the baseball bat to hit. And then we got another keg over here for our other percussionist and another floor tom, right? So I'm going to give you a little bit of a rundown. We got a snare drum over here for Blister Exists, and then he's obviously got a snare drum over there for Blister Exists as well. Let me give you a rundown of some of the gear that I'm going to use. I've been kind of adding and subtracting some stuff onto this just to kind of make sure that it's ready to go for some of the stuff that we're doing. I'm going to open the back over here and show you a couple of specific things. So I've gotten this question a bunch from the people that have seen me perform live, and I have used this on a couple of my videos, but I do want to take a second to highlight my Franken drum throne. So the base of the throne itself is the Carmichael throne, but I guess what would be the legs of the tripod portion is a rock and sock. So I just unbolted the rock and sock top from this one and replaced it with the Carmichael. This split down the center makes it so that your spine's free floating. So your core foundation is a little bit more sound, and any of the pressure that you would get on your lower back gets alleviated a lot from using that. So this thing has saved my life when it comes to drumming. I had to slow down drumming in general quite a bit just because of some medical stuff that I had going on, and that helped a ton. Let's go to the pedals first. So I'm actually using a Pearl Eliminator Redline, but it's been modified a little bit. So on the pedal board itself, I actually have skateboard grip tape, just kind of help from sliding too much. And then even both of the chains have been replaced with straps, and then I'm running the clear cams on it, which is relatively a one-to-one kind of direct kind of feel. So it has a similar kind of feel and response to a direct drive pedal, but not quite. Snare wise, obviously we have the Joey Jordison Signature Pearl. On the top, I'm using the Remo Controlled Sound, which is what he used to use, just to kind of keep it pretty similar in tone. I do have a Evans Rezo on the bottom, and I did replace the snare wires with some Pure Sounds. All right, so the underside, we have a Evans 500, so it's a little bit thicker. And then the Pure Sounds, I think they're just Pure Sound Custom 24s. I think they're just Custom 24s. The kit, this is pretty much my go-to acoustic kit that I've been using for years. The sizes are technically a little bit short stacked, and they're a little bit smaller. Even like obviously Joey's snare was a 13, and I've always run like 13s, gotten used to that like a long time ago. But my 2 rack toms, I've got a 10, a 12, and then a 14-inch floor. And then each one is short stacked by about an inch. This is a DW collector's custom exotic of the Maple Burl. And it's been gigged pretty heavily for the past like 13 years, I don't even know, a very extensive amount of time. I'm using the Ambassador coateds on the top, but the bottoms, let me actually like hop off of this platform and show you. The bottoms are G2s. So now I tend to run a heavier head on the bottom of my toms, just to kind of lower the fundamental a little bit since they're smaller sizes. And then even with the floor tom, I'll show you a little trick that I learned from Benny Greb. Let me get this under there. So I've got some cotton balls on the inside of my drum resting against this bottom head to kind of act as like a little bit of like a mute for the bottom head, so it doesn't resonate like too much. I think it's like just enough to kind of tone this thing, because sometimes it gets a little like basketball-y and a little bouncy, because it is squared off. It's 14 by 14. So, and then the bass drum itself is actually a 20 by 16, something like that. I originally, when I got this kit, I was thinking about going smaller sizes because I was playing like a lot of clubs, but also just the kit. Like I've always been a fan of 20-inch bass drums just for like the tightness of it. Just as a pre-warning, I am going to hit this a couple of times just to give you an idea, but so it's not as like boomy. It's a little bit more like punchy. And obviously for like the quicker stuff and the rebounds that you can get off of it, feels a little bit like nicer. So I've always been a fan of 20-inch bass drums. When it comes to the cymbals, I've been mostly a Sabian guy for a long time. These are hi-hats that I've had for quite some time. These are actually like, they're a cymbal vote from, I don't remember what year, but these are explosion hats, 14-inch explosion hats, massive bell on this thing, which every once in a while I will use as like as an extra bell sound if I'm kind of going between like the hi-hat and the ride. Actually, also before I get too far, these are the sticks that I've been using as per late. These are ProMark Firegrain Rebound 5As. Sometimes I'll switch between the 5A and the 5B, but the Firegrain ones, like, yeah, they're a little bit more expensive, but like when you play one of these and actually feel like the vibration or lack of vibrations because a lot of the moisture is removed from the stick, it's what I like to kind of like equate to it as like the like a regular maple neck on a guitar versus a roasted maple neck. That's literally all they're doing to the stick is they're roasting the stick. So it does take out a bunch of the moisture. It's a little bit less prone to bananas. So I've been having a lot of luck with these as of late. So not technically what Joey used to use. I did actually grab a pair of these. These are Hickory 747s, but they're forward balanced, and I did try these for like the first couple of rehearsals that we had. You can see by the stick marks and stuff, but like my hand started kind of cramping up a little bit, so it just really wasn't a good fit for my hand. But I do have these like on deck. Maybe I'll try those this weekend. But moving from the hi-hats, we'll go to the first crash. First crash is actually technically an XSR concept crash. I bought this to replace a crash that I cracked. And honestly, like for the price, and you know, I've been using this for a couple of years now. It's been holding up pretty well, and I do think like the overall like tone of it and the balance of it with everything else I've got is pretty enjoyable. Same thing with it actually made me get this Splash, which is the XSR. What size is that? 10. I've actually been running this as my main Splash for quite some time because I was using the Ozone AAX and ended up cracking that one and splitting that one. I am a heavy hitter sometimes. I just got this recently. This is a Chemistry series alchemy bell, I think. Let me grab the other side. Once I flip this over, I'll know a little bit more about it. I literally have had this for about like a week. So this is a chemistry black 6.5, like Zilbell style thing. I love the lathing on the inside of this. I've tried this like on both sides. I'm kind of in between like which way I want to mount it, but like for right now, this is kind of where I ended up. Even just trying to like move some stuff around where there's a space to get to the toms for tom mics. Ideally, when I initially bought it, I wanted to flank them where like this was going to be off to the left and then the splash would be off to the right. But I don't want to be too much of a pain for the sound guys when they need to mount their microphones for the toms. So I ended up just kind of like making like a little mini tree here. And accessing both of them actually isn't too bad. So I haven't had too many issues actually like playing with them there. So I think I'm pretty much just going to keep those there for right now until it becomes more of an issue. I ended up grabbing this. This is a Peisty 900 series 18-inch crash. This is a little bit thicker, a little bit bigger. This is my main crash that I've been using for the past couple of years. I may end up like getting a couple more of these 900 series. It kind of has a little bit of the projection and like the presence that like the 2000 series would have, but it's just a little bit darker. And I do like the coloring of this and the staining of it to give it a little bit more of like a darker finish. I think it like pops a little bit more, oddly enough. This has been my primary ride. You can see there's barely anything of the Sabian level logo left. This is a AAX stage ride, 21-inch. So a little bit of a goofy size, but it's a little bit smaller just so I can get it like right above my bass drum, because I always kind of set my stuff up ergonomically as if there's like an invisible second bass drum. So from the center, I essentially have my feet like planted from here, and I just go straight up from the middle to try to keep everything relatively the same part from like my left to right side. So that's why I have like a China on my left and a China on my right as well. This ride, bell, super tiny. It's almost, sometimes I actually think that the bell of my hi-hat is actually larger than the bell of my ride. But the tone of this ride, when I ended up getting a lot of this from Dale's in Harrisburg. When I was going through the cymbal selection, this literally has like the sound of a ride that I have in my head. Relatively pingy, right? I don't crash on it much, but that bell, it cuts. Like it's so good. I've been a fan of that bell and that ride like ever since I got it. And I'm gonna be really sad when it eventually breaks. This China is just, I think it's like an older AA rock China, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, nope, that's my other one. So this is an XS20, an 18-inch on the right-hand side. This is like a really nice balance. It's got enough like, kind of like trashiness to it, but it still has a little bit of shimmer to it. So like this has been my primary China for quite some time. It kind of gives me like kind of holy China vibes a little bit. And then this one over here I just grabbed recently. This is a Sabian. This one's like an AA rock. I think this one's an AA rock. This one's been obviously heavily beaten up. I think this one's an 18 as well, but this one has a little bit more of like the Zildjian Oriental series kind of vibe to it. It's a lot like louder on the initial projection or the initial crash of it, but I think overall like the wash of it like works well as an accent to the other one. So I think it's been a great addition to it. And then obviously over here I am using the Elisa Strike multipad. Never mind like this section over here. There used to be knobs, but they got broken off a little bit. I've got a couple of samples that I've got on the pad here that we're going to use for Saturday. I'm not going to spoil them, but there's some fun stuff in there. And that's pretty much it as far as gear for me. if you stuck around this long, I do appreciate you like hanging out and checking out my drums and stuff with me. I do. I always love when I get a chance to play this kit. It's been a dream of mine to own this kit ever since I got it, and it's been put through a lot of paces, and it's gotten a lot of work, and it's still holding up, still going strong. So if you do want me to break down some other like gear of mine, like if you want me to break down the electronic kit at the house, let me know. If not, then I will just see you on the next one. I am going to post some footage of the show on Saturday. I'm also trying to make it a point to be a little bit more active on YouTube. I consume a lot of YouTube content, so I'm just trying to be a little bit more like active personally in creating content, and I've gotten a lot of cool opportunities to play some really cool shows, and I've played a lot of shows over the years, and I don't have a lot of footage from them. So my New Year's resolution for this year is to try to like make sure that I've got some footage from a lot more of these shows that I'm playing. So I'm very fortunate to be able to do what I do, and I just want to be able to share what I get to do with you guys. So do all the YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you want to see in the next video, and I will see you on the next one.